Randhr, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate this so much, and hopefully others will be appreciating it too. Since I'm such a newbie, the first thing I need to know is what buttons to push and how do I get around. So if I come into focus where we are now, this is my profile. Let me make sure I'm in my profile here in focus. Oh, brother. If I'm here and I want to get to Openfund, because that's what I'm really excited about, what would I do and where would I go?
Yeah, so if you scroll down,
Okay, scroll down here on the left.
there are multiple scrolls. So scroll down on the right-hand side, on the right
Oh,
section.
on this side?
Yeah, the second scroll that's there. Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, okay, let me just explain this, right? So with focus, the way it works is each creator, in this case your profile, right? Each creator can have their own token. So if you go to focus.xyz/Randhr, right? My profile /RANDHIR, click on that profile. So typically account creators can have their own token, right? In this case, I assume that you still don't have your own token,
Yes.
right? So because I have my own token, so each profile which has a token will have a trade on open fund button right at the very top. So if you see that green button there in the center,
This one?
the one, yeah, but the one next to it, the one next to it, the one to the right of it,
Oh,
it says trade
trade?
on open fund.
Oh, super.
So essentially, if you want to buy, say, a certain amount of my token on Focus itself, you can just click on the quick buy button. I think
Yes.
you just enter the amount, and it kind of places a market order.
Can I click on it real quick or sorry?
Yeah, just click on quick buy
Okay.
and just I think enter. Say you want to buy $1 of my coin, right? You just
Okay.
enter $1 where there's zero. Enter amount to buy, right? Enter say $1, and if you scroll down now. So
Okay.
essentially, it's now telling you for $1 you receive 2,600 tokens, right?
Really?
Be because it's obviously priced pretty low. No, you don't need to buy. And just
I want to
to
buy it though. So,
okay,
okay.
sure. Sure. So I think if you click on review by order, I think probably will need to get a confirmation. Now you can confirm buy and the order goes through, right? So you then end up with 2,600 additional to or 2,000
And I always
263
have to
additional tokens.
approve, right?
Yeah, once you confirm. Now that you've confirmed, I think it'll probably take a couple of seconds and then it's come. You get a confirmation,
Oh, can we
right?
do
Saying
another
that,
one so people can get it?
yeah, sure. Now
Success.
just close the X on the top, right? Yeah. So now you can do the same thing again. Say
Now,
you
I
want to
want to
buy,
judge this day in music history, right?
yeah, I think she has a token, correct? Yeah. Yeah. So click on her profile. It
Okay.
is, yeah, so there it is. So she does have a token, right? So you click on quick buy
Okay. I'll buy. I'm sorry, I only
and
buy $1 because I don't know how much money I have.
yeah, no, I think it'll warn you. If you don't have money, it'll warn you. So just enter $1 and then click
Okay.
on review buy order. And because her coin, I think, is priced slightly higher, so you get 650 tokens instead of the
And
whatever
confirm
2,000 tokens.
buy. Okay.
Correct.
This is, yes, I approve. This is actually so easy.
Correct, right? And so this is more for new sort of newbie users who just are getting started. They just come on Focus and they're just getting into tokens, right? It's probably for that. So Open Fund, which you asked about, is more the advanced version, right? So it's for you want to place limit orders. These are market orders. So there's typically two kinds of orders. Market orders are where essentially you're just buying whatever's available in market, right? So here you're just picking up saying whichever the cheapest. So, say tokens available, it kind of matches against that and picks it up, right? So if you say you want to place limit orders, and there's a few other advanced features, we can get into it later.
Yes.
So that's where you go to Open Fund, and that's where you can click on trade on Open Fund, and it probably opens a new browser, and you can kind
Yes.
of go into that page.
That was so simple, and I have made it so difficult. Thank you. second question. Okay, where can I see where I have bought? I don't see, where
Yeah,
do I see
yeah,
my
yeah.
token?
So let's stick to focus for now. All right.
Yes.
So if you on focus, if you go to the wallet page, which is there on the left, yeah, I
Okay.
think it will show you the list of tokens that you own. So at the very top, you have how many tokens you own, right? You have 49 different tokens.
Oh,
So
okay.
the value of your portfolio is about $732. If you scroll
So,
down,
okay.
so it will tell you, I mean, you were wondering how much money you have, right? So you have
I know.
$400 still to spend.
Okay.
So you can buy a lot of tokens, especially if you buy $1 of tokens, there's a lot of tokens you can buy.
I can.
If you further scroll down,
Okay. Top of the,
it'll
I just want, okay, here we go. So here's my core assets, my cross
Yeah,
chain.
so these are the main sort of more liquid tokens are Deso, USDC, and Focus, right? So it's kind of grouping that together. All of these are Deso tokens, and you kind of almost used as money tokens, right? So you can buy using Deso, you can buy using USDC, and you can buy tokens using Focus as well. And again, you'll see that once you come to Openfund, you
Yes.
will see that you can actually buy tokens using any of these sort of tokens, right? So you can buy $Randhr tokens from using USDC, using Focus, or using Deso. The default is Focus because that's where the market maker is active. But essentially, you can buy using any of these, and you have whatever $400 or 400. I mean, out of the $400, I think the key thing to remember here is this 321 that you have
Where
at the
am I?
bottom, the locked focus, right? The fourth row over here.
I'm lost.
Yeah, so just close this. So in the core assets, right? So you have four different rows, correct?
Yes.
So the
One,
first one
two,
is
three,
DSO.
four.
So you
Yes.
have 30 DSOs or about
Yes.
$150 at the current price. The second one, you don't have too much. USDC, you have only about 9 cents.
Yes.
The third one is Focus. So you have about $260 worth of Focus
Yes.
tokens. These are the ones that you can use right away. In addition to that, maybe because you reserved focus tokens when it
Correct.
first kind of got launched, right? So you have some tokens that will get unlocked in a certain time in the future. I think 2026 or 2027. Again, if you click on view unlocks, you will see it. So those are tokens that will become available to you for use in 2026 or 2027. So right
Okay.
now, $411 is the ones that you can use to buy tokens.
Okay.
So again, if you scroll further down, that's where you'll get to see all the tokens that you've bought.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I
this is
have
where,
yours.
yes. So if you see, I think you've already bought tokens before, right?
Yes.
So you have the balance is where it shows the number of tokens that you have.
So I have my value
So you
is,
have $56 worth of tokens, and you have 173,000 tokens of mine.
isn't that cool, Randhr? I love
Thank you for buying so many tokens.
that.
No, so
Okay.
essentially what I did when I launched my token, and again, we'll get to that probably in a future session. What I tried to do when I launched my own token was try to keep the value low so that people can buy even with $1. They get, 2,000 tokens or 2,000 tokens or whatever, right? So I tried to keep it low so that people get that, that feel that they do get I mean, it's not like paying $10 to buy one token. I didn't want to get to that thing too soon. That's why I price it low. So you can price it at whatever price. I think, for example,
Really? Okay.
Donna priced it at probably a different one, right? So I think you bought say $1 and you got only 600 tokens with hers. So
But
she's obviously priced it slightly differently. So if you scroll down, you'll
okay.
probably see her token as well. It's that number 7 is her token, right? So
I sit here. Oh, yes. Okay.
yeah.
And
So
her.
essentially, if you see the value there, it shows 0.87. That probably means that she has about 10 cents or 12 cents worth of trading fee. So every
Okay.
time you buy a token, there's a certain amount of trading fee that goes to the creator.
And
So
why
in
is
my
it
case,
in red over here for her?
that I think it's more showing has it gone up or gone down in the last day, right? If you scroll up, the header probably will explain it. Yeah,
Lost.
value in the last 24 hours, right? So my
Okay.
token has gone up 3%, but maybe someone sold her token or something like that. So it's gone down slightly about I think at
0.18.
yeah, 0.18. I think the 20% is generally not it's kind of exaggerated, right? Because the volumes are so low right now that
Okay.
one small buy or sell kind of shows it as a maybe that $1 that you see is probably that 5% increase that you're seeing is probably significantly contributed by your $1 purchase, right? So the volumes are quite low at this point, but obviously once the volumes go up, it's going to be a good number. Okay.
Okay, so another question, safety net, this is $0. Is that percentage? Oh, so it didn't do it up or down. Is that right?
Yeah, so essentially with some tokens, I think like the safety net token, I don't think they have launched the automated market maker, right? So the AMM. They have
Oh,
not yet launched it, because of which, so essentially the value that it is showing here, if you scroll up, the value that it is showing, the value field, right? So
yes.
that it is showing is actually if you click on the I next to it, if you click on the I, or just hover over the I next to it, right?
Oh,
Don't click, just hover over the I next to it. It shows the description. So this is the USD amount you would get if you sell all your tokens. Essentially, what's happening here is for tokens which don't have a market maker setup, the value will show very low. Because you sell it, you actually get marked against some really low orders, or you don't get any money at all, and stuff like that. So those are not very liquid tokens. So in my case, I think my AMM is active. So you pretty much get most of what you've spent. I think you spent $55 or something the other day, and
correct.
then you spent about $1 today. So you kind of get most of what you've spent minus maybe a 6% fee or something which I've set. You get most of the money back once you sell my tokens, right? So the value is there in that. But for some of the other tokens like safety net, and the safety net is more a donation, right? So you're actually donating to their efforts and donating to their
Right.
cause and stuff like that. So it's not really, and they haven't set up the market maker. So they're using most of the funds we have given, or most of the contributions we have made, they're using it for their servers and stuff like that, right? So they don't have any market maker set up, because of which you're seeing the zero in the account, in the
Okay,
value.
that's a really, really good point. So next time we meet, maybe you could walk me through creating my own token. And once a person has a token, you could raise money and then uh, realize some of that money. You could put some of that money in your pocket on a monthly basis if you wanted to. That's not a good
Correct.
idea, but you
Mhm.
could.
No, I think it's fine. So the way, I mean, obviously at scale, that is how this is supposed to work, right? Today, it's not probably working as well as yet,
Right.
because we still don't have the user base to make this work at scale, right? So if you scroll to my profile, just click on my profile,
Yes.
you'll
Oh,
you'll
click
actually
on your
see that.
profile.
Yeah, just click on my profile,
Okay, scroll
and
down
you
a
just
little bit
scroll down, correct?
more.
Yes, if you see here, so the earnings shows $367. I just click on the earnings,
Okay, where am I?
just slightly down, or the
Down
one
more?
below that. Yeah, no, that one there.
Okay, I don't see it.
Yeah, that one, where
Right
your
here.
mouse is. Yeah,
Oh
that one.
boy.
Just click on that. It shows the breakdown. It should show the breakdown of, or just hover over that. Maybe sorry. Just hover over the earnings field. Sorry. So essentially, that $367 actually includes about $95 worth of tokens of earnings from the purchase or sale of my tokens. So when
Okay.
I go to my earnings tab, I see that breakdown. So I can share my screen at some point, and I can show you. I can do it now. So I am on my Focus login. So I go to earnings, and again, It is equally slow on mine as well. So I don't think it is your. Okay, so when I go to my earnings page, it shows it obviously showed a much higher number
Oh,
in yours. But out of the $316, so the first $100 was basically the Twitter bounty that I got, right? So
yes,
then almost about $95 is trading fees. So this is the 6%. Earlier, I think I had it slightly higher. I had 12% or so. So now I've reduced it to 6%. So the 6% fee that I get when anyone buys or sells my token, that is added up to about $95 worth of trading fee. So then the subscriptions, that's another way to, I think I have a $1 subscription for some content that I put out every week or so and stuff. So that $1, again, over the last 3 months come to about, I think 50, I have 15 subscribers or so. So that's about $45. And
that's
then these
great.
are the diamonds, tips, or whatever, right? So essentially what I wanted to show is between the token and between the tips and subscriptions, and again, there's paid messages, there's revenue share coming in from referrals. So if I refer you as a user and say you make money, you make $100, I get $5 of your earnings as well. So this I made a few referrals. I made I think 15, 20 referrals on Twitter X, and that's added up to about $15 worth. And all of these numbers, like I said, are quite small today because the user base today on Deso is small. As the user base grows, let's say it grows 10x or 100x, this same number could be 33,000 or 30,000 or whatever, right? And that's when the number blows up. At this point, it's more a proof of concept in a sense. So
Right.
the real success is going to come once these numbers blow up to 10 to 50x, and that's when
This,
this is start to go viral at that point, I guess.
and actually, what you're doing with me just really makes me excited a little bit because I like it on a very small scale so I can learn. And how you
Correct.
explain, so I can go around buying a little bit of folks. If they launch their coin, I can buy a token.
Correct. No, and I think it does make sense to buy. Again, it's a gamble, right? So like with any purchase of a stock or a crypto, it's a gamble. But obviously, when you're investing in friends, there's almost an innate trust, right? So you assume that they will do something with the token. If not, they'll definitely not walk away and stuff. So they'll do something with the token. And then obviously, if you're buying that token early, because of the way the tokens are set up, the earlier you buy, you're going to get the tokens cheaper and the value keeps going up. So again, I could open Openfund and show you my token because I am anyway sharing. So this is Openfund. Again, we'll probably get into Openfund specific questions at some point. But if you search for my token, and again, it's a
But
little
stop 1 second. So we weren't in Openfund before. We were in our profile and we were in our wallet.
correct.
And I could just go straight to your profile and I could buy.
What I wanted to show was something very basic, right? So what I wanted to show was essentially with tokens, the earlier you buy,
Yes,
I think essentially there's a lot of users. This is my token, right? It's at a daily stage. So my token was launched on 30th March, about a couple of less than 2 months ago, right? So it launched and it was around this price, 31, 32 cents. So obviously this decline that it is showing is kind of inaccurate because the most of the decline it's showing is because of the fall in the Deso price. There's
right.
really been literally no, if you go to my trades page, there's literally been no sell of my token except one sale at about 5 days ago. There's nobody's actually sold the token, right? So essentially, people who bought my token in the at the very early stage, if you look at the price at which they bought it, they got it at you know the first few people bought it at one one focus, 1.5 focus, right? Essentially, I mean, I think it was closer to one focus or something like that. So now the same one token which is there, one focus uh, per token is about 1.5. So it's gone up 50%. at least in focus terms, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
the value of focus has gone down quite a lot. It's not showing in the chart. But the point I was trying to make was that the earlier you buy some of the tokens at launch, especially if you trust the creator, it obviously works out better for you.
This is a lot to take in, but let's
Awesome.
go over what we learned so far was
So
they,
essentially, quick summary, right? So
yes.
uh, on Focus, you can actually buy tokens. You just need to go to the user's profile page. So if you this is my profile page, right? So if you want to go to any user, it is focus.xyz slash the username, right? In my case, it's focus.xyz slash Randhr. So you will get the quick buy button. You just need to click on that and say enter whatever dollar amount you want to buy. So today's I'm going to be the top traded token because of my demo. So so I just click on $1 and then I think wait for the confirmation. It is really slow.
Okay.
And in about 2 or 3 seconds, you get the confirmation that so many tokens have been bought. Right. So that's the simple way to buy a token. Obviously, if a user has not yet launched a token, like in your case, focus.xyz slash. So in your case, for example, because you have not yet launched the token, the quick buy button will not be visible. Right. So I think that is thing. But again, I think that's a quick thing that we wanted to share.
Correct.
And again, and then you wanted to go to, if you want to look at what you've earned as a user, I think you can go to the earnings page and then you get the breakdown and you can look at it over time. You can look at it the last 7 days,
That's
or
really
you can look
great.
at it at the last 30 days or whatever, right? So that's a quick summary of what we've learned so far.
I have a token launched on the social world on Deso, not Focus. We can explain how the difference is and how to look at it. So if I'm on
Correct.
Deso, I can't trade my Deso tokens on Focus. Is that right?
So you're talking about the earlier version of the Creator Coin, right?
Yes.
Okay. But high level, I think it's basically an earlier version, a legacy version of Skater Coin, right? So
Right.
what I was showing you right now is the advanced version or the latest version of Creator Coin. So I basically migrated all my investors from the earlier token to the new token. So of earlier Creator Coin to the new Creator Coin, right? So you can do that, but essentially now I think because the core team is not supporting it over time, I believe personally that people will all migrate to the V2 version of Creator Coin. But I mean, yeah, even that is some people still are using Creator Coins. I still hold, I think, about 500 DSOs worth of Creator Coins of people, friends who've not yet migrated and stuff like that. So it is still active. But again, over time, people will probably, especially if focus takes off, I believe people will migrate to the V2 version completely.
Thank you. Because now I can see that I could hear the differences before, but I didn't understand it. Here, if you version two seems like it could be a lot of fun. I might go in
Correct.
and start trading like 1 cent, 2 cents just to learn how to trade the coins.
Correct.
And
Correct.
you have charts in here to read. You have it's very powerful, I
Correct.
think,
And
right?
and and if you look at this, I think so essentially if you want to find what the difference is between the V1 and the V2, essentially the way the V2 works is all of these earnings automatically can get paid to your supporters, right? Earlier,
Oh,
a lot of people were like, I'll be paying rewards every month and all of that. So here, that feature is not yet enabled, but at some point they will probably enable it where I can say that if I earned in 30 days, if I've earned $30, I can set 20% as payout for my investors, right? So if
okay.
I make $37, then 20% of that goes to my supporters automatically at the end of the month or every week or whatever, right? I can set it like that. So that's again one more reason why investing in creator coins of users who are likely to take off, right? Who are likely to be make a lot of money, or make a lot of money on trading fees, or essentially people who will be active, right?
That's
If you're able to buy such users, you will end up with a good deal, right? So that's really this one. So with Creator Coin V1, you don't have that option, right? You don't have the option of staking rewards. So
right.
essentially, I've set up staking rewards where there's 25% payout per year that goes out to anyone who stakes the tokens. And
Thank
earlier, I was doing that manually, but now obviously there's a lot of features now on the on the V2 version for all of those to happen automatically, right? So
Perfect.
that's, I think, a few key differences for why I think the V2 version is better than the V1.
Wonderful. Such good information. This is really actually quite exciting. What I think with the next thing I want to do for people and me is let's launch a coin. People get really confused. A few people have launched their coins by accident and they did not know what they were doing. So if you guide me through launching a coin next time, I think that would be great for folks, because I think when they see how powerful this is, why wouldn't all of us want to be actually using the platform?
So that's a good one. I think so. I mean, it's going to be it's going to get a little bit technical, but I'll probably give you some quick pointers so that it doesn't get too technical. And I mean, essentially, maybe you can replicate what I did or something like that.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I am. Oh, there we go.
So I just stopped sharing my screen. I'm still here.
Okay, there
I
you
just
are.
stopped sharing my.
Thank you, Randhr. What a blessing, because you did a really good job of explaining. I really understood.
Yep. See you. Take care. Very
Okay,
nice talking to
bye-bye.
you. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about what are the things that go into choosing a kind of launching a coin, right? So what are the things to keep in mind, and what are the sort of features to think about when launching your coin? So if you see my coin, I think it's launched already. So on any profile page that's already launched, you'll see some of these things on the right hand side, right? So these are the different aspects of a coin, right? So to keep in mind, so I'll kind of go through one by one. So the first is obviously the name, which is the username that you already are using. You can change it if you want, but it doesn't make sense to change it. So then there's a category. I think it does 2 or 3 standard categories I've created. I think so. I've
Oh,
chosen creator. I think another uh, category is called meme tokens, and there's another one called utility tokens. So something like a focus or an open fund is the utility token. A meme token could be just a meme that literally no expectation of any kind of returns. It's just a fun thing, just launch it and stuff like that, right? So you need to pick a category, and I think you can also create your own categories. And then one of the main things to kind of think about is the price at which to launch. Like I told you
wow.
in the
Okay.
one of the earlier sessions, uh, the price is something that you can think of from you know, how low do you want to price it? How high do you want to price it? If you're unsure, just go with whatever the default is. I think it's fairly decent and fairly standard. I think it goes with 0.001. I think is the default. So you can go with that. I've just put a little more thought, and I just wanted more tokens so that people end up getting more tokens for a
I
smaller amount,
loved
right? So
that. I loved that. How do you make it really cheap? Cheaper than
yeah.
0.0001.
Correct, right? So when you're launching the token, and we'll kind of go back to when you launch your own token. So I think you can kind of choose the price. So and then if you remember with the Creator Coin V1 version, there was a standard bonding curve, right? So as more and more coins get bought, the price keeps increasing and stuff. So with Creator Coin V2, the bonding curve is something that you can decide. So there are some features that go into deciding that bonding curve. Again, we'll come to that when we launch your token. Again, I cannot show it to you because my token's already launched, so we'll go back and share it with you. And then the other thing to keep in mind along with price is how much of your tokens do you want to own? So the default, I think, is 50%. So I've chosen to set it higher. more at 80% because I have a few things that I have in mind in terms of how I want to manage my token, and especially as focus scales, I want to have a little bit more control of the ownership of the token. And if at some stage I realize that I don't want to own that much tokens and things have stabilized and stuff, I can always burn the additional 30%, right? But going into it, I didn't want to set it too low and end up with say one whale coming in and owning a big chunk of my tokens and then dumping it on other new users and stuff like that. So just to get that control, I set it higher. So again, that's something to keep in mind. And essentially, I think that's that. And based on the price that you've chosen and the bonding curve that you choose, you end up with a certain number of tokens. In my case, I think it was close to about 25 billion tokens, right? So 25 billion is the
Oh,
total number of
really?
tokens.
That's
And
fabulous. I
so
love it.
it's a whole lot. And again, I own about 80% of it, so it's not like. And again, I could literally burn all of this tomorrow, and then it would be 5 billion tokens, right? But again, it's something that I had put a lot of thought into it and got into it. And the other things to keep in mind with this is. You know, it also comes with certain other features, right? So again, we'll kind of go through that. This is the next portion of the properties of the token. This feature is not yet launched. The revenue share feature is not yet launched, but obviously the assumption there is any uh, any coin holder of mine will get a certain percentage. So if I set it at 20%, and I earn, say, like I showed you last time, my earnings were around, say, $300 overall so far, right? So in the last 30 days, I've earned $17. In the last, I mean, from January, I've earned about $300. So if I set it at 20%, so about $60 of that will go to my coin holders, right? That's kind of the way it is set up. And again,
Wonderful.
these numbers are quite small because obviously the traffic in on Deso is quite small at this point. But obviously, once the scales to like say 10 to 100x, it should go up. And then there's a trading fees we spoke about last time. So essentially, if anyone buys $100 of my coin, I get $6 of that, right? And this also applies when a coin holder sells your coin. So you actually make, if someone buys and sells your coin, you actually make $12 on that trade, right? So it's actually in a way similar to the founder fees that founder percentage, founder rewards that is there in the Creator Coin V1 version. So instead of setting it at 12% on there, because there you only were getting paid on the buy of the token, right? So
Right.
here you get on both the buy and the sell. So you set it at something like 5 to 6%, you should be good. And
Wonderful.
APY is kind of the staking rewards. So uh, the this is another new feature of Creator Coin V2. So you can actually lock your tokens, and I've kind of encouraged my coin holders to lock their tokens, and there's a reward of about 20%. So if they own 100 tokens today and they lock their tokens, in a year from now, they'll have 120 tokens. So that's like a reward for them. So while it's still just additional tokens that they get, the assumption is the coin value obviously keeps growing as I grow as a creator. And so they are getting 20% extra tokens, 20% extra value for just holding the tokens and locking it, right? It's more like a way of rewarding loyal coin holders, right? So I used to do this as with CCV1, with the Creator Coin version
Right.
one, but I had to do it manually, right? I had to calculate every month, and I had to say, okay, how many of you hold your coins and hold my tokens and whatever, and then reward it. So here it's all automatic, right? I just set it up, and then it's kind of gets paid out automatically at the end of every month or every year or whatever it gets paid out. And there's a minimum lockup period. I set it to a year. But again, there's a few parameters. I've kind of disabled minting of new tokens. I think typically when you launch first, I would recommend you just leave it as enabled for the time being until you know that your coin is minted properly and everything is okay and stuff. And then updating transfer status, by default it's enabled. So I've again disabled it so that people have the freedom to transfer from, say, uh, the main account to the alt account or whatever, right? So they're able to do that. So I think that's pretty much the main features. And then this kind of summarizes the current state of the token. it kind of says how much of how much of the market maker, right? So each when the token is launched, you can also launch your own market maker. Essentially, the money that the users are investing in doesn't actually come to you. Just to keep that in mind. So when if say people have invested $900 worth of token, I don't get this $900, right? So most of this goes back into the market maker, and then it kind of sets up buy and sell orders on the Openfund website, so that anyone who now wants to sell it can get sell it at the current price and get back the value, right? So that's typically about $900 worth of money has been invested in my token. And there's, like I said, out of the 25 billion, about 5 billion still to be sold. A very, very small portion has been sold so far. So again, purely basis the small, the limited traffic that we have at this point, right?
I have a question.
Yes.
That was really good information. So when I create a coin, I put the price, somebody buys my coin, I make money from the buying and the selling. So somebody pays $10, I don't get that $10.
Correct. So I think there's two ways to handle it. So the by default, whatever you see on the default experience, you will not get the $10, right? So typically, whatever money kind of goes in, that goes into the. So when the token is first launched, the way it works is. So there's a separate account called the AMM something something, right? So there's a AMM account with your username, right? So if you that account actually sets up sell orders at different prices depending on the bonding curve you have chosen, right? So say in this case, if you go back to my profile, you see that the starting price I've set is 0.0001, right?
Okay.
So by default, like I said, it's 0.001. So I just added an extra zero. And then these are the features that you typically use to set the bonding curve, right? So at what price do you eventually, at the highest price that you want to set is say $1, right? If the highest price is $1 and the lowest price is 0.001. So the bonding curve is going to be between these two prices. And at every level, what is the number of amount of tokens that you want to get sold, and what is the percentage increase between each level, right? So that all of these are settings that are typically done. And based on these parameters, the AMM account actually goes and sets up sell orders. So when your coin gets launched, people then start bidding for your token, right? They start bidding. So obviously, people start bidding at different prices,
Okay.
and the orders get matched between the buy and the sell. And the money that comes from all of your investors initially goes to the market maker account. It doesn't come to you, right?
Yes.
So that is the $924. So if, for example, in your case, say you want to say uh, you want to get say 50% of it to your own account or something like that, there's obviously two ways to do it. One, you could just set up a trading fee of 25% or 50% or whatever, and you will get 50% of it to your account, right? Or a cleaner way to do it is you anyway will have a certain number of tokens that you will get allocated in 30 days or something like that. So when you get those tokens vested into your account, you can then set up sell orders at the order book on the order book itself, right? If you go back to Openfund, uh, I'll just show you, right? So
Yes.
the way I've done it. So I've not sold too much, to be honest. I have kind of really set very, very small sell orders. But because I had a CCV1, I set up most of my, I got most of my coin holders to send their coins to a separate alt account. And I sold that CCV1 and I bought the Create a Coin version 2 with that, right? And then the coins that I bought, I got up, I think, about 100,000, a million tokens of mine or something like that. I've just set up small sell orders at different prices in a sense so that Okay, it doesn't show up in mine because it's there in the alt account. But essentially, this one is an account that I sold, right? So a lot of other orders have got matched, and there's $40 worth of token are still getting sold. So as my coin price rises, right, this account will get a certain amount of the orders matched. So if say someone buys $100 of worth of my token now, the first $40 goes to this AMM account. So if you hover over this, you'll see the name here, right? It's
Yep.
AMM Randhr 1258 something something, right? And if you hover over this, this is my wallet, my alt wallet, right? So that's the one that I'm using to almost act as a placeholder for everything that technically kind of belongs to my investors, right? So I really am not going to be using it. So I've, staked the amount that's there and I'm going to be using it for rewards and stuff like that. But I'm using some of that to sell at different points so that the wallet that's held by my investors is keeps kind of growing, right? So there's one that I've set at, say, whatever, 1.77 focus, right? And if you scroll up, there's probably one more order that I would have set way up, or maybe I've cleared everything else. So essentially, you can set it up at different levels, right? And another way to do it is you can set up these sell orders and then set up corresponding buy orders slightly lower. So you can play around with it. It's more,
Well,
like I would say
where
the default behavior is probably to, let's let it play out. And, like I said, just use the sell orders depending on what kind of liquidity you want, or, what kind of price do you think is a stable price? If you think a good price is, say, 2 focus, or, say 0.005 or something like that, right? If you expect your coin to double or something like that, you can set up the sell order at that point so that, one, you have an incentive to, get your coin price to go up. And when your coin price does go up, you get some amount of liquidity back into your wallet, right? So I think it's just one of those that you can play around with. But by default, just keep in mind that the money goes into the market maker. If you don't do any changes and just launch your token as is without doing anything on focus, you will end up with most of the money going to the market maker, and you don't really make money other than the trading fees.